It's a Wednesday night in August, and the house is quiet. You didn't set an alarm, but your eyes are open. You turn toward the nightstand, and the clock says 3:14. Not 5, not 6, 3:14. Again. So you lie there and look at the ceiling. Your heart feels quicker than it ought to, and your mind, doing nothing a minute ago, has already fired up. The call you forgot to return. Next Thursday's appointment. Here's the number I want you to sit with. If this happens most nights, you're spending something like 300 nights a year awake in the dark. 300. That's a big piece of your life handed over to a ceiling. And somebody probably told you it was perfectly normal. It isn't random. It isn't only your age. Something is waking you, and usually it's more than one something. I'm Glenn Harper. I'm 55. I'm not a doctor. I'd never pretended to be, and I'm not going to start today. I'm a regular guy who got worn down by vague answers about his own body and started reading carefully. Only a doctor can tell you which of tonight's 7 is yours. What I can do is hand you the map so that appointment goes better. Now, I owe you something. Last time, in the balance video, we did the 3 moves against the wall. At the end, I said out loud that a lot of you had written in about the wobble first thing in the morning, that hanging onto the dresser feeling in the first minute of the day. I said the next video would be about it. This is that video. But I'll be honest about the turn it takes. I'm going to spend most of today on 3 in the morning, not on your feet. That isn't me wriggling out of it. It's the actual answer. Your morning is mostly decided in the dark. A night chopped into pieces hands you a body that's slower and stiffer at 7 a.m. Giving you wall moves and saying nothing about 3 in the morning would be handing you a bandage and skipping the reason you're bleeding. So we fix the night first. And before we're done, I'll give you exactly what to do in the first 60 seconds out of bed. First, I want to hear from you. In the comments, tell me 2 things. How long has this been going on? Weeks, months, years? And when you wake, what does it feel like? A racing heart? Aching hips? Worry? Or do your eyes just open for no reason at all? Write it down. Somebody will scroll through and see their own night described by a stranger. Now, what this isn't. I don't know your body, your medications, or your history, and anybody claiming one trick fixes 3 a.m. waking is selling the trick. It's also rarely one thing. Most people have 2 or 3 stacked together. Good news, because you don't have to find one hidden culprit. Here's the piece most people never hear. Sleep isn't one flat block. It runs in cycles roughly 90 minutes each, and every cycle carries light sleep, deep sleep, and dream sleep. But they aren't spread evenly. Your deep, hardest to wake sleep is loaded into the front half of the night. The back half is mostly light sleep and dreaming. So by 3 in the morning, you've already spent most of your deep sleep. You're in the shallow end. A disturbance that would have bounced right off you at 11:30. A dip in blood sugar, a twinge in a shoulder, a bladder filling, now has a real chance of pulling you all the way out. 3 a.m. isn't cursed. It's the thinnest ice of your night. That's why so many different problems announce themselves at the same hour. 7 reasons counted down from 7 to 1. Number 1 will surprise a lot of you because it's built out of things nobody would call a vice. Reason number 7. Your blood sugar is sliding down while you sleep. Dinner becomes glucose, and glucose is fuel. Overnight, with nothing coming in, that fuel drifts down. Normal. But if your last meal was early, or light, or mostly quick carbohydrates, white bread, pasta, dessert, it can drift lower than your body is comfortable with. And your body doesn't shrug at low fuel. Research points to a stress response. It releases cortisol and adrenaline to push that number back up. Those are alarm hormones, the same chemicals that flood you when a car swerves at you. So you don't drift gently awake. You come up wired. Heart tapping, maybe shaky, mind sprinting, nothing in the room to explain it. It's a warning light coming on at 3:14 while you're asleep, and the light is doing its job. What helps a lot of people is a small, boring snack before bed with protein and fat in it. A little cheese, a spoon of peanut butter, a few almonds. Not a cookie that spikes you and drops you. Steady fuel, not more fuel. And a serious note, if you have diabetes or take anything affecting your blood sugar, don't rearrange your evening eating on your own. Talk to your doctor first. Changing your food changes how that medication behaves. Reason number 6, your breathing is getting interrupted and you don't know it. The best known form is obstructive sleep apnea. Soft tissue at the back of your throat relaxes while you sleep, and narrows or closes the airway. Your brain notices oxygen dropping and hauls you toward the surface just far enough to get you breathing again. You may not remember one of them. Your body counts every one because every rescue costs you another piece of deep sleep. And here's why it lands at this hour. Those arousals cluster in lighter sleep, and lighter sleep is stacked into the back half of the night. 2, 3, 4 in the morning. The signs aren't as obvious as people assume. Loud snoring can be a clue, but plenty of folks with apnea barely snore. Watch instead for someone telling you that you gasp or go quiet and then catch up. Waking with a bone dry mouth, a morning headache, and that exhaustion where you slept 8 hours and it didn't count for anything. Doug, from my Tuesday walking group, went through this. His wife told him for years he stopped breathing and jolted. He told her she was exaggerating. He finally got a sleep study, and she'd been right all along. That's one man, not a study. But it's why I'll say this plainly. It is not a do-it-yourself project. No bedtime routine fixes an airway. Say the words, "I think my breathing stops at night," to your doctor. Reason number 5. Your bladder is waking you, and the reason probably isn't your bladder. One trip a night is so ordinary most people never mention it. But when it lands at 3, and you're awake for an hour afterward, it's worth a look. The word for it is nocturia. Part of it is that the aging body gets less efficient at concentrating urine overnight, so the bladder fills faster. But here's the mechanism almost nobody explains. All day, gravity pulls fluid down into your ankles and lower legs. Then you lie flat and gravity's grip lets go. That fluid moves back into circulation, your kidneys finally get a look at it, and they start processing. The result arrives on a delay, a full bladder around 2, 3, or 4 in the morning. So put your feet up in the evening, above hip level if you can, 20 or 30 minutes. That lets your body handle some of that fluid while you're still awake instead of at 3. And keep drinking plenty of water. Just move more of it earlier in the day. Now, the part I need you to actually hear. Some medications increase urine output, especially diuretics and certain blood pressure pills. And the time of day you take them can matter. So you may be sitting there thinking you've found it. Maybe you have, but do not change the timing of a prescription and do not change the dose on your own. Not by an hour, not ever. Write down what you noticed and take that note to whoever prescribed it. A pill is scheduled when it's scheduled for real reasons, some of them about your heart. Your job is to notice. Theirs is to adjust. Quick pause. If anything so far has made a piece of your own night make sense, tap the like button. That's what puts this in front of the next person lying awake at 3. And if you're new here, subscribe. Reason number 4. Your cortisol is firing hours too early. Your body runs on an internal clock, the circadian rhythm, and one thing it schedules is cortisol. Cortisol gets a bad name, but it's your get up and go signal. In a healthy pattern, it sits low through the front half of the night, then climbs gradually so you're ready to be a person by 6 or 7. When you're carrying chronic stress, pain, inflammation, money worry, health worry, loneliness, grief, studies suggest that curve can get shoved out of shape. Instead of rising gently at 6, it can come up early, sometimes right around 3. And you feel it, not sad, not sleepy, urgent. Your eyes open, there's a low hum of something's wrong, and your brain goes hunting for what it is. So it grabs the nearest worry and gets busy. Your body can't tell an emergency from a mistimed hormone. It just runs the program. What helps is duller than you'd like. The same wind down every night. Lights down an hour before bed, screens off, a few minutes of slow breathing, out longer than in. And if your head fills up the moment it hits the pillow, write the worries on a pad where tomorrow can deal with them. Research points to simple relaxation practices improving stress regulation over time. You're not becoming a monk, you're sending one message every night: we're safe, we can stand down. Reason number 3, pain and inflammation are getting louder in the silence. You don't have to be in bad pain for pain to run your night. Low-level discomfort, the stiff hip, the shoulder, the aching hands, the legs that won't settle, is easy to ignore at 2 in the afternoon when you're busy. At 3 in the morning, it has no competition. Think of a refrigerator you can't hear at noon and can't ignore at 3. The hum didn't change. Everything else went quiet. There's a mechanism under this too. Inflammatory markers appear to vary across the night, and in the back half they can run higher. So mild discomfort can get just loud enough to lift you out of deeper sleep into the lighter stage where waking is easy. So, gentle movement before bed, not exercise, slow stretching for hips, low back and shoulders, a few minutes. Easy. Check your mattress and pillow because plenty quit doing the job years ago. And if you take something for pain, ask your doctor whether the timing of your dose could cover the early hours. Ask them. Don't experiment. Chronic pain isn't something you absorb quietly because you've had a birthday. Reason number 2. The things you carry are catching up with you. I'll slow down here. This is the reason people feel most and say least. All day you've got scaffolding, errands, the radio on, somebody to talk to, a show at 8. At 3 in the morning, all of it is gone. It's you, the dark, and whatever you've been carrying without setting down. And it comes up. Worry about your health. Grief for somebody who isn't in the next room anymore. The ache of a life that got smaller. Fewer friends, fewer invitations, fewer phone calls, fear of being a burden to your kids. That isn't weakness, and it isn't you failing at being tough. It's a human being lying still in a quiet room with nothing to hide behind. There's a physical side too. In lighter sleep, the brain sorts through what you felt and didn't have time to feel. And when there's a lot of weight in there, it can get busy enough to wake you. 3 in the morning is when the day's noise stops and the honest stuff comes forward. Here's what I'd say sitting on the end of your bed. Tell one person, out loud, to a face. A friend, a son, a daughter, your pastor, the woman you see every week at the market. And if what surfaces at 3 isn't just a rough patch, if it's grief that hasn't started to lift, or a heaviness where nothing sounds worth doing, or a feeling that the world would be better off without you, don't ride that out alone for another year. That deserves real help from a counselor or your doctor, and reaching for it is one of the strongest things a grown adult can do. Many counselors work by phone now, and if you're ever frightened by your own thoughts, call someone tonight. Reason number 1. Your evening is quietly wrecking the back half of your night. Remember the architecture. Deep sleep up front, thin ice in the back. Reason 1 is everything you do in the last few hours before bed that makes that ice thinner. Caffeine catches people. Your body clears caffeine more slowly as you get older. What was gone in 4 hours at 40 can hang around considerably longer now. And people switch to tea in the evening thinking they've solved it when black tea and green tea both carry caffeine. So that comfortable cup at 7 can still be circulating at 3 on the exact part of your night that couldn't afford it. Alcohol is the sneakiest because it appears to work. A drink does make you fall asleep faster, but research consistently shows it fragments the back half of the night. It buys you the first 90 minutes and charges you for the last 3, which is precisely why you wake at 3 and lie there wide-eyed. Then there's light. Bright light in your eyes late in the evening suppresses melatonin, the hormone your brain leans on to hold the sleep cycle together. That's the kitchen light, the television, the phone 6 inches from your face, and a heavy late meal leaves your digestion working a shift it should have had off. I'll be honest, this one is mine. Last winter, I was up at 10 past 3 most nights, blaming my age like everybody else. It was tea at 8 and the news right up until I turned out the light. 2 changes, nothing heroic. Caffeine stops at 2 in the afternoon, television off 30 minutes before bed. It took about 10 days. That's one man's experiment, not a study. But it's why I don't lecture anybody from a comfortable chair. Nobody's asking you to give up your evening. Switch to a genuinely caffeine-free herbal after mid-afternoon. If you enjoy a drink, have it earlier and keep it small. Turn the lamps down an hour before bed. Push dinner earlier and lighter. Keep the bedroom cool, small and dull, and together, strong. Now, the morning. I promise you this. Why are you stiffest and least steady in the first few minutes of the day? 3 honest reasons. First, you've been lying flat for 8 hours, and your blood pressure has to catch up when you stand. Go from flat to upright in one motion, and the catch-up runs late, and the room swims. Second, your joints have been still for hours. They're cold and short until you use them. And third, the whole point of tonight, a night broken into pieces, leaves the balance system slower the next day. Your inner ear, your eyes, and the sensors in your feet all report to a brain that didn't get its deep sleep. That brain is a beat behind. That's the wobble. So here's your first 60 seconds every morning. Don't launch. Roll onto your side and push yourself up to sitting on the edge of the bed, both feet flat on the floor. Then sit and count slowly to 20, letting your blood pressure catch up while you're still safely parked. While you sit, put those seconds to work. Pump your ankles up and down 10 times like you're pressing a pedal. Roll your shoulders back a few times. Turn your head slowly left, slowly right. You're waking up the system that reports your position to your brain. Then stand with one hand on the nightstand or the dresser, something solid. Hold for a slow count of 5 before you take the first step. If the room moves at all, sit back down and wait. That isn't defeat. That's a man reading his own instruments. Then walk, and the wall moves from last time belong right here, after you're up, not while you're swaying. Now, some plain talk about limits. Persistent 3 a.m. waking is worth a doctor's visit. Not 5 years of guessing on the internet, including guessing with me. Take a notebook, what time you wake, what it feels like, what you ate and drank, and everything you take. That page will do more in a 10-minute appointment than an hour of talking. I'm saying the medication one twice on purpose. Never change the timing or the dose of a prescription yourself. Not the diuretic, not the blood pressure pill, not the pain medication, not anything. Bring the observation. Let them make the change. Sleep apnea goes to a doctor and a sleep study, not to a routine, a pillow, or a gadget. And blood sugar medication means you talk before you change your evening eating. Some things aren't sleep problems at all. Chest pain or pressure at night, waking gasping and frightened for air, a new pounding or irregular heartbeat, a sudden severe headache unlike anything you've had. Those aren't fixed with chamomile. Those get urgent medical attention tonight. Now, the part I actually came here to say. The villain in this video is a sentence. 4 words. That's just your age. It gets said gently by kind people who mean well. And it does specific damage. It takes 7 separate, findable, mostly fixable things. A blood sugar dip, an airway, a fluid shift, a hormone running early, a sore hip, a heavy heart, a cup of tea, and welds them into one unfixable thing called getting old. Once you accept that sentence, there's nothing left to investigate. You stop asking. People lose years of nights that way, being polite about it in the dark. Your age is not a diagnosis. It's a number on a form, so let's put it together. Your body waking you at 3 isn't a mystery, and it isn't a sentence. It's a signal. From fuel running low, breathing getting interrupted, fluid shifting when you lie flat, cortisol arriving early, pain with nothing to compete with, what you carry surfacing when your guard is down, or an evening that sands away at the fragile end of your night. Usually 2 or 3 together, and the fixes are almost embarrassingly ordinary. A small snack, feet up, a cutoff time for caffeine, an honest conversation, a doctor who finally gets the whole picture. None of it needs money. It needs paying attention, and it needs you to believe you're worth the trouble. You are. You're not too old to sleep well. You're not too old to get your nights back, along with your balance, your patience, and your grip on your own day. Your body did change. Changed is not finished. It just means it needs you listening closer than you did at 30. 3 in the morning isn't your enemy. It's just the 1 hour when nothing else is talking. So your body finally gets a word in. So tonight, pick one thing. 1, not 7. Move the caffeine, or put your feet up, or turn the lights down early. Do that one thing for a week and watch what your body does with it. And do the 60 seconds tomorrow morning before you stand up. That one's free. Then come tell me in the comments. What time do you wake, and what does it feel like when you do? I read every one, and they're where the next video comes from. Speaking of which, a lot of you asked about the stiffness that won't leave your legs and hips. That's the next video. Thanks for your time tonight. Go take care of yourself. You've earned a full night's sleep, and I'd like to help you get it back.